Hi.
Hi.
Hi, friends. Welcome to this podcast. I'm Estefi and I'm going to be your host. And I'm here with Karo, my co-host for today. Karo is the founder of Blot. Este episodio lo hacemos en español o en inglés.
En inglés.
¿Sí?
Sí.
Okay. Así que sí, welcome. Welcome to our English friends. Welcome to Take 3 Talks. So why don't we start, before I give you like the little blurb of like what Blot is and all this stuff, I want to really start with Karo, with you. Who are you? Kind of just paint a picture for the people who are listening to us and tell us just who you are, what you like, and all the things. So tell me.
So, hi, my name is Carolina. I am 26 years old, and I'm the founder of Blot, which is a period underwear brand created here in Ecuador. And basically, I studied art history in college, and I went to Switzerland. I lived there for 4 years. And then I lived for a few months in New York, and then I moved back to Ecuador. And I've been sort of floating around ever since.
Oh my God, what a world trotter. Wait, so you studied art history where?
At Franklin University, which is an American school in Switzerland.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you even end up, okay, so let's just start with like the start, the fact that I also wanted to study art history, but I couldn't do a double major at Pratt with art history because I had too many credits and, you know, you're international, whatever. And I've always been obsessed with art history. I like stupidly love history, especially art history. Major is really funny because he's really bad at history. He's really bad at reading. He's really just not good at any of it. So I was always the one that helped with the history stuff. But yeah, how did you decide that you wanted to study art history? Did you know that your whole life, or was it like, oh, you went to you graduated from school and then you were like, okay, I guess I'll do art history in Switzerland? Like, how did you end up there?
The second one, definitely. When I graduated high school, I was 18, but you know, if you didn't go to college right away, it was kind of like you're a failure. It's like, what are you doing? So I didn't want to go to the States, but I had already had like a US based education, I guess. And I wanted to go to Europe, so I looked for an American school in Europe, and I found this really small university. It was like 500 people in the southern part of Switzerland, and I basically did like my first year. I just like floated around all these like courses and trying to find out what I liked, because I didn't get into school with like an idea of what I wanted to do. And so like when I had to declare my major, I was like, what am I good at? And it was kind of like, yeah, I like museums and going to galleries, and I'm not an artist, so I guess I can do like art history. And I kind of chose it because I had to choose something. Now that I look back, I think I was too young to be in university. I would have liked to go like a couple years later, because at no point when I declared my major did I think like, what am I going to do after this? Like with this, I just was like, I'll figure it out. I'm sure something will come up. And yeah, when I graduated, things did come up, but you know, it was just like very expensive to be an art historian, because wherever I went, I only got internships and I didn't get paid for them. And when I came back to Ecuador, it was like, you needed to have so many connections to get into the museums here, and galleries. And I was just like not into it once I had to like actually get into it. Yeah.
Wow. What's really interesting is that, so, okay, you went to Switzerland, you studied art history, and then you went back to New York. You went to New York. And what did you do in New York?
Well, I went to New York 3 times. So the first one was summer of 2016. Best summer of my life. I think I will say that until I die. I hope I have a better summer.
Why do you think it was the best summer?
It was the first time I went to New York by myself, and I went to do an internship at this like photography magazine, and it was not serious at all. Like, it sounds really important, but it really wasn't. But what was really important to me was like the experiences that I got to live there, and just like everything was so new, and I felt very stuck in Switzerland. I went at a point in my college career or pathway or whatever where I felt really stuck because I was in a really small town. You know, Europe, like, is beautiful. It's amazing. And I got to travel a lot, but, you know, on the day-to-day basis, like, this city was just kind of boring to me. And I just didn't feel very fulfilled. And suddenly I was in New York and I was like, wow, this is so rich in every freaking way. Like, there's always something going on. And, you know, my, like, I don't even know how old I was, but my 20-something-year-old brain was like, wow, so like, like literally flying colors in my brain. I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And I met a lot of people, and I kind of learned to be by myself and comfortable by myself there. Because when I was in college, I didn't really feel comfortable being by myself. I did spend a lot of time alone, but I wasn't happy with it. But in New York, I was like, I don't care. Like,
oh, New York has a way of making it so that when you're alone, you're just so full of love and people and movement and light and anger and sadness and happiness. And New York has a way of just mesmerizing you. Where were you living when you lived in New York? I mean, like the first time.
That first time I lived in Greenpoint, and I fell in love. Like, my dream is to go back and live there someday because it's just so chill, and
it has the best places to have, like, get drinks and food.
Yeah, so good. And like little bookshops and like, I don't know, just
vintage shops, furniture shops. That's what we used to get all of our furniture. Actually, one of the only pieces of furniture that we brought was one of our vintage credenzas that we bought in Greenpoint.
Wow.
Yeah, so many beautiful spots in Greenpoint.
And it's like you're in New York, but you're not in the chaos of, like, it's a little bit more quiet.
That means that you took the G train.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that G train, man. That G train's got stories.
Really?
Yeah, because the G train was the one that we took at Pratt as well, because that's the one that goes like down. Crosses. So yeah, we used to live off of the Myrtle Willoughby stop in off the G train when we finally moved from New York. And then before that, at Pratt, we were in the Clinton, what was it? It was Classen, and then the other stop was Clinton something. But on the G train, yeah. So we spent a lot of our years in the G train. And 2016 was the year that, like, the summer after we had graduated. So that's so funny. We were in like the city at the same time. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you interned at this photography magazine, and you lived in Greenpoint, and then did you leave at the end of the summer?
Yeah, I left. I went back to school. I did my last year, and then at the end of my 4th year of university, I met my ex-boyfriend. Well, I didn't meet him. We were already friends, but we got together, and he was from Long Island. Well, he is.
Oh.
And I was like, perfect, we're graduating. I am going to New York.
She's like, New York, here I come.
Yeah, literally.
Boyfriend or not.
Yeah, I was like, it better if I have a boyfriend. So, I just like went, for the summer after I graduated. I just went literally to do nothing. I just wanted to do nothing. And we spent like this really fun 1 month. It was like literally a vacation. I didn't do anything. But then I wanted to come back, and so I got an internship at the American Foundation for the Arts, which is just an organization that plans art exhibitions around around the States. Sorry. So yeah, I was in the curatorial department, and that was like an internship. So I was there for like 3.5 months, and yeah, that was more serious. Like, that felt like I really had to do the work. And that was really fun. I had really cool bosses. Like, they just taught me so much. They were so willing to like teach me and stuff. But it was just not viable to stay because it was so expensive. I wasn't getting paid anything. I couldn't find a job, and like, it was just really frustrating. So I decided to come back to Ecuador, and then like, I was doing long distance with my ex-boyfriend, and eventually I was like, I can't go back to New York right now. Like, I don't have a job. Like, I can't spend more money, more of my savings, because I literally spent all of my savings going to New York. And so that's when I just kind of said goodbye to that
Yeah.
part of my life.
They always say that New York is the best in your 30s once you got like your shit together, because New York in your 20s and in your like last of your, I guess, teen years, because I go to New York when I was 17. We lived upstate New York. That's the first campus we went to. But yeah, they say that New York is best in your 30s because that's when you got your shit together, you got money, you can actually like not take the fucking subway when you're really drunk at night. You can just take an Uber.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah, New York has a beautiful way of expanding your limits. Like we always say that New York is almost like this like trash machine, you know, that helps you just like you put in the trash and then it just comes off like a nice little cube of trash. I feel like New York is like that. It like just spits you out in a way that is just like you become a whole different person. Like the people you meet, the places you go, just the subway, like the experiences that you're able to actually get, like the food you're able to eat, the drinks you're able to drink, like just it's just like you said, it was like I think going to New York is like an extreme like sensory experience, you know. It's like sounds and like sights, and
it's stimulating.
It's so stimulating. That's the word. It's so stimulating. Like no matter what you do. Like I remember one time it was Christmas and Major had his Christmas party at his office and I had already had mine or something, and that night I took myself out for a date, like a solo date by myself, and I went like bar hopping by myself in the Lower East Side. I ended up actually losing my phone. Then someone stole my phone. She took it by mistake. Then I found her because Major found my iPhone through like he was in like somewhere else in his office or whatever, and I had to like drunkenly like run through the Lower East Side to like find this underground like comedy place where the people were with my phone, and then I had to get in a cab so I can like go to Meijune's party, and like it was so funny. But New York has amazing ways of really just teaching you to be a whole different person in a way.
Yes.
And I love that we have that in common. So then you got back to Ecuador, and then what did you do, or kind of what did you want to do? Because I know that you also did your master's, right? Like your business thingy. Yeah. So I guess give us a little bit of that timeline.
Yeah, so when I got back, my sister works at film festivals here in Ecuador. She's like communications. She's into the whole thing, but within the arts and culture. And so she kind of was like, I'll help you get a job, because if no one knows you here, no one's going to give you a job just straight off the bat. So she helped me get like a job with her as her assistant, and I kind of got into the whole like doing film festivals here. And then I worked in the editorial department, and you know, I went through all these like different places. And then in 2018 I wanted to move in with my current boyfriend, and I just felt like I really needed to have a stable income. I just felt very insecure with like the whole like having to wait for the government here to give you the funds so that you can, you know, pay for rent. I was like, no, I don't want to live like that. And I don't want to live with my parents anymore. So got to make sacrifices. So I found a job at a local university in the communications department as well. But before that, I had already planned a trip to Japan. And so I asked like my new boss to give me like 3 weeks to go to Japan and come back for the job. And she was like, sure, do it. So yeah, when I went there, I think I had never traveled on my own to a place that I just did not know anything about. I didn't even know. I knew how to say hello and thank you. That's it. And so I just went because I was really curious about Japan. And it was such a challenge. And I was alone, and it just felt very like one of those trips that you're like, that kind of changed my mindset a little bit. And it was there that I kind of felt I had the first feeling of like, what am I going to do? Like, I knew the job at the university wasn't what I actually wanted to do. So I was like, I'm going to have to find something, you know, like that's not forever. So I already came into that job knowing that I wasn't going to stay. And I stayed there for like 6 months. And a little bit before I quit, I was like looking for what I could do so that I could be my own boss. Because as soon as I started that job, I hated being told what to do. I hated that my time belonged to someone else. I hated that my boss could call me at 10 at night and ask me for a stupid Instagram post. And it was like, I'm about to go to bed. Like, are you kidding me? And I just really hated that, and I felt really stressed. And so,
how old were you at this? Like, and what age, like what year was this?
This was 2020. So, yeah, this was like January 2020.
Right before the pandemic, or in the pandemic? When did the pandemic?
Right before, like a couple months before it started. And so I started to think about that, and I was like, I'm going to have my own business. Like, I don't even know what it's going to be. I don't care. I just want to do it. And, yeah, and I started to talk to the professor that used to sit next to me in the office. And I was like, I don't know. I just want to like do my own thing. And she's like, she's this Spanish woman. She's very outspoken. She's like, fucking do it. Like, just go, quit right now. Go to her office. Tell her you're quitting right now. And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't even know what I want to do. She's like, just go. And I'm just like, okay. So that's when I kind of started to think more like consciously of what I wanted to do. I've always been very passionate about like reducing my waste, like my plastic waste. I'm just very traumatized about the amount of trash that we make. And so I was like, I should do something related to that. And then, you know, I was like, what if I like recreate my period panties, which I had bought in New York the first time I went to New York in 2016. So it had been like 4 years. And that's when I like told this professor, I was like, I'm thinking of making period panties. And she's like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. Like, you have to do it. I'll be the first one to buy them, but you have to quit. I'm like, okay, fine. So I quit in February. And that's when like my whole like plan to do this whole thing started. And in April, I started my master's. And in April is when the pandemic really hit. Like, that's when we were actually in lockdown. So it was kind of great. Like, for me, the pandemic, I have the privilege to say that it wasn't like a horrible, horrible time. I was studying. I was still like making money through translations. I work as a translator as well. And so, yeah, it was just a moment to focus on studying. I really felt like I needed to do my master's in order to start my business because I just felt very insecure about my knowledge. So, yeah, I did that. And then when I finished, it just kind of merged into Blot.
Wow. Yeah. Wow, I love this. And I have a question about Japan. Where did you go in Japan? How long? Like, you were there for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And where did you visit? Like, what was your favorite thing that you'd say, like, okay, this really changed my life? Or is there a couple of things that you want to share with people? Because I think it's really nice when you get to experience. I went to Beijing in February of 2018. All expenses paid by my company, and it was the trip that changed my life. And from then on is when I came back to New York, and I was like, oh, I can do more than this. Like, there's a bigger world out there, and I never want to work for a company again. I hate advertising. I never wanted to be in advertising. Why the hell am I putting myself through this? Like, there's a bigger world out there. Like, I went to China by myself for 2 weeks. I don't even speak Chinese. And I made it. Like, we can do this. Like, I'm like, people are like, I'm like, what? We're designers. Like, everybody needs a design. I'm like, literally. If anything, we can just make pictures and sell it to hotels. I don't know, whatever it is. Yeah. But what was it that from Japan that you think that was like the trip that really changed things for you?
Well, I was like a week in Tokyo, then I was like in Kyoto for 5 days, then I went to Osaka, and then I went to these islands that are like in the southern part, I want to say, and these are like islands that are just destined to be like museums. Like, there's art installations everywhere around the islands, like outside. It's called Naoshima and Teshima and all these islands, and I was there for like 5 days, and I just being like surrounded by nature, because it's just all like ocean and forest and art. It was so inspiring, and I was like so present, that I just like that feeling was something that I wanted to carry with me for forever. Like just feeling so at ease and without worrying about anything, just like walking around and seeing things, and also getting to be with myself for so long, with my thoughts. I hadn't done that in a while. So I think it was just like it was a challenge for me. I'm not very good at being alone, especially when I'm with a partner. Like when I have a boyfriend, I'm not good at being alone. And so that just really woke me up. It was like, wow. Like, and it was right before I was going to move in with my boyfriend. And so it was like, who am I, like, as an individual, and what do I want to do as an individual for myself? And so I think that really woke up like this first spark of me wanting to like seek something that actually make me happy, rather than just like always following the steps of, you have to go to college, you have to do this, you have to do the internship, you have to graduate in 4 years, you always, you have to. And I was like, I just want to decide for myself, no matter how much fear there is in that decision. And I think ever since then, like all the decisions that I've had to make have shown me that I can do it, and that I'm capable and strong, and just that it's so much better once you choose something for yourself. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so inspiring. It's like I'm 28 and I'm just starting to like delve into that. And I think there's so much power before starting your business to really understand not only what drives you, but what itch do you want to scratch?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like Tim Ferriss talks about it like this. Like, you know, as creatives, we're constantly putting pressure into creating creative things, and we forget that is about our itches, because we're constantly putting like you said, like steps. Okay, you need a certain amount of clients. Okay, you need this type of clients. Or okay, you can't survive in art unless you're like, you know, a developer, or you're a designer that ends up in an advertising agency, or you go to the big places. And he talks about it, how we limit ourselves so much as creatives because there's like plans and boxes that we want to fit in, and we always forget to scratch our own itches. And we want to scratch everybody's itches, and we want to help all of our clients, and we want to do all of these projects, but we forget about our own itches. You know, like I tell Major, and I'm like, wow, like I just want to grow old and like paint and like collage, and like that's all I want to do when I grow old. And I don't want to grow old to do that. Like I want to do that now. I want to paint in the mornings. I want to collage if I want to. I want to message people for, you know, really vintage magazines so I can make really personal projects, because I'm a very conceptual artist, you know? And I think sometimes we forget about those personal itches and that personal individual signature that we need to like develop in a way. And because I think the world not only goes so fast, but because social media, because of the internet, because of all the beautiful, nice things that we now get to have to make the world more connected, we also forget, and I think we were talking about this today, we also forget how much effort it takes to like live in this present like social media digital world, because everything happens so fast and you consume so much, and you are always like, okay, what's the next step? Okay, what's the next master's? Okay, what's the next thing I should grab myself? What's the next course? What's the next this? What's the next this? And then you're like, what do you want to do? What is something that drives you? What is the mission that you have? And I think in order for us to even transition into Blot, and how Blot not only came into your life, but you kind of birthed it. It comes from that need that you were like, you know, I want to not only be my own boss, but I want to do something for something that I'm passionate about, like reducing waste, like helping the earth, like et cetera, like helping our culture, maybe move it a little bit forward. What can we do to move our day-to-day society into a place that maybe it's a little bit more future thinking into what you've seen in the world,
Yeah.
right? You went in Switzerland, New York, Japan. I'm sure you traveled to other places as well. And I think there's this thing that when you get to travel and you get to expose yourself with different cultures, different food, different languages, you want to bring some of that, especially to a culture and a society that, like Ecuador, is very closed-minded, I feel like. But there's pockets of people in the society and pockets of groups of people in the society that want to make these changes. And I think what's really beautiful is that we are starting to all kind of weave together to create like a stronger pocket of like forward thinking people and more inclusive conversations and more thinking about the earth and thinking about those who we never thought about, right? And I really love that. I think it's just so nice to hear that it wasn't just like, oh, I'm gonna make period panties because this is something like I want to make. It was like, okay, what's the idea or the concept or the need, the thing that I'm trying to really fulfill or achieve, and then how can what product can I create, or what way can I create or satisfy this need of wanting to reduce plastic or have a better earth for the future for all of us, right? And I just really enjoyed this little intro of who Karo is. I love that we're in the intro and we're like 30 minutes in. This is the most amazing podcast. But so this was the first of a 3-part series with Karo Sotomayor, and I hope you enjoyed this episode with her. In the next episodes, we're going to be covering everything from menstruation, marketing, Instagram, communication, creating a product in the eye of all the taboos in a society that's quite conservative. And yeah, I really, really, really hope that you enjoyed getting to know just a little bit more about Karo and the woman behind Blot. Stay tuned for the next couple of episodes, and if you really enjoyed this, don't forget that you can DM me on Instagram at Take3Talks, or you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and check out the show notes on our website, take3studio.com/Take3Talks. Thank you so much for being here. You are amazing, and I can't wait to see you here on the next part 2 and 3. Bye, friends.